Today is November 18th, 2018. I'm James Thompson. I'm a member of the Capstone group who are designing a impact recorder. This is the impact recorder. We have it taken apart. We have the lid taken off so we can see what's going on. This video is going to show how the device is powering up, and it has the ability to detect I2C. We're using the power supply here to supply the 12 volts through these cables. We're using these cables because the original cable is not available, but it's the same result. We connect the cable to the input, and then it goes through all of this to power up both pies. When I turn this power switch on, both pies will come on. As you can see now, both lights illuminate. And the pie is now powering up, as we can see. The pie on the left is powering up right now. And we'll give it time to power up, and then we're going to talk about a thing or two. And there we have it. So now we're going to test the I2C detect. We'll open up the command window, scroll to the I2C detect command, and click. And there we have I2C detect. So the addresses are there on the screen. So now we're going to power it down and connect the other pie. So I'm going to sit the camera down, and then we'll come back. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to make a separate video. Matter of fact, I'll do it right now. We got to move the cables. These cables have to move to the other pie. And the mouse pad, the mouse connection. And then we have to move the HDMI cable to the other pie. Now we have to move the accelerometer cable, and notice on the accelerometer cable it has a white mark, so there won't be so you can't confuse which direction or which way that the thing is connected to the pie. The pie also has a white mark, as you can see right there, so you match up the white marks and you will always get it right. And we're doing that right now. So we have those connected, and now this pie is powering up, and there it is. We turned it off and back on so we can power it up so it can restart. Now we're waiting on it to power up so we can do the I2C detect on it. And there we have it. So we will open up the command window and scroll to the I2C command and press enter, and there we have I2C detect. So the I2C is working properly. Both Raspberry Pis are powering up as they should. The I2C is working properly on both. And there we have it. Now, there's a couple of things I want to point out. For some reason, the guys that had this before were Felix and Najim. They unmounted the camera that was here, and then they removed this camera from its spot. They unmounted this camera and then moved it over here. What sense that make, I don't know. But they moved it for some reason. And another thing to note is that this camera here, the pin on that camera is bent on the ribbon cable. I'm trying to zoom it in so you can get a better look. So that pin right there is bent. And that's probably from putting the camera in its socket without first releasing this clamp. This clamp is what holds the ribbon cable in. But if you don't release that clamp and just try to force it in, it will bend the cable, bend the connectors on the end. Another thing to note is that this camera is not fully seated. The ribbon cable is not fully seated in its jack. So there may have been some issues that they were having, that they were trying to figure out, and those two things there may be the reason they may have been having issues. Just a note so that we can address that to see if maybe we can look into that. Otherwise, one other thing, the accelerometer also has the other end of the cable for the accelerometer also has a white mark, so on the cable itself and on the accelerometer, so you know which way to connect them. So I guess that'll be the end of this video. So now that we know this thing is working properly, we can go back to coding. I'm going to leave those cameras as they are because I don't know what those guys were doing with them. But we can now go back to coding and see what they can do with that. Oh, one other thing that I wanted to mention is that this accelerometer cable also has another wire connected, coming from it, so that they can connect the GPIO pins 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. GPIO pin 11, they can use this to connect pin 11 here to pin 11 here. No matter which one the actual cable is connected to, we have another wire so we can go from pin to pin on each Raspberry Pi so that they can communicate with each other. So I incorporated that into the cable. So we are set. So this video, that's the end of this video, and we'll just see what's going on and how our project comes out. Ciao.